Therapists are famous for trying to get people to talk about their parents. And the reason for that is that if one of your parents had some kind of significant flaw, then you also probably have a similar flaw. And it's a lot faster to help you see that flaw in mom or dad than it is to try to get you to see that flaw in yourself. The reason is that if you grew up with parents who had some sort of significant flaw, as almost all of us did, then your mind created a kind of shield or filter to protect you from seeing that flaw very clearly because you were just a little kid and you needed to be growing up in a PG world, not an R-rated world. So if one of your parents sometimes did something that would be R-rated, your mind would have taken that event and then filtered it in your memory to where it becomes more PG rated. So it takes out the significance and the intensity of the event. And one way that it changes that, one way this filter works, is if say my mom did something mean to me, the filter is going to make it seem like my mom didn't intend to do a mean thing, it just happened. Or my mom did a mean thing with good intention, so maybe she did it for my good, she did it for my benefit. Or it might seem like my mom didn't know that the thing she was going to do was going to have an impact on me or have a negative impact on me. So this filter, this parental filter that we all have, it protects us from seeing the intensity and the intentionality of what's being done to us as children. And it doesn't mean that you have bad parents. It just means that normal parents do this kind of thing to their kids all the time. It's a normal part of childhood for most people. And for some people, there's a lot worse things that happen in childhood than for others. But every child experiences really difficult situations with mom and dad, at least a few times in their life. If you have kids, you know how hard it is to not get frustrated with your kids sometimes. And kids are so vulnerable that if you get frustrated with one of your kids and you take your anger out on your kid, that has a significant impact on the kid. And then your child's filter is going to activate. It's going to make it seem like you're not nearly as deliberate and intentional in doing what you're doing as you really are. So the reason I talk to my clients about their parents is there's a really fast path to growth here. If I can get you to see your parents more clearly, if I can get you to see that, if mom or dad hurt you at some point, they almost certainly knew that they were going to hurt you and that they were okay with hurting you. Because that's just the reality that, especially if you were in some sort of family environment where children were hurt regularly, then a behavior that happens over and over and over isn't accidental. It's organized behavior, and someone's responsible for that, and someone could have predicted the impact that was going to have on you. And there's kind of three options in that situation. So if there's a kid in a family and that kid is getting hurt regularly, emotionally or physically, or getting yelled at or whatever it is, there's kind of three options. So option one is the parent doesn't know that they're hurting their kid. That does happen, but it's really rare. The most common option is the parent knows they're hurting their kid, but they don't care. It's not important enough to that parent to stop hurting that kid for them to actually stop doing it. They just keep doing it. And then option three is a worst case scenario where the parent enjoys hurting the child. That's not the case usually, but it is the case in some families. So if you grew up in a family where mom or dad enjoyed hurting you or got some sort of pleasure or satisfaction from hurting you, that causes severe damage to your brain when you're growing up, and your brain will always filter that out. So if you had a parent who hurt you consistently, it's probable that parent enjoyed hurting you. And it's also probable that same parent went through a similar situation when they were young, which is how their brain learned to have this pattern programmed into it. People get defensive about their parents in therapy, which makes sense. The thing is that if your parents showed up in therapy, I would be talking to them about their parents. And if my parents showed up in therapy, then the therapist would be talking to my parents about their parents, and so on and so forth. It's not about having bad parents. It's that every person is born into a certain family system, a family tree, a multi-generational family system. And the place where the traditions that exist in your family impact you individually is usually at mom and dad. Now, if you were raised by a grandparent, then you were impacted by your grandparent. But most of us are mostly impacted by mom and dad or whoever raised us. And mom and dad's influence becomes the primary driver in how our brains develop. And so as an adult, a lot of the patterns that I have in my brain are after effects of the impact that mom and dad had on me as a child. So if I want to say, become a more loving person, a more respectful person, a more kind person, a more confident person. If there's things that I want to be able to do that I can't currently do, say, if I struggle having intimate relationships, or I'm having a hard time having a good marriage, or maybe I'm not a very, very good parent, maybe I have a tendency to neglect my kids or be mean to my kids, usually the fastest path to changing that is for me to try to get a clearer view of how my brain became how it did. Like, how did I become this way? How did I end up thinking this way and feeling the way that I do? And that usually has a lot to do with mom and dad. It's just the way brain development works. So it's not your parents' fault. It's not your fault. It's not even your grandparents' fault. It's just the truth of the way your family operates that you probably can't see clearly right now. But if you learn to see it clearly, it can help you change really quickly.